Alright, so back with another video. So I just got done doing the videos about the deity Tishpak, the Mesopotamian god Tishpak, and I wanted to kind of continue that with a video on the ancient, it's an ancient Mesopotamian creation epic called the Labbu Myth. So let's get started here. This is related to the god Tishpak, so let's check this out. I haven't checked this out in a long time. The Labbu Myth is an ancient Mesopotamian creation epic. Only one copy of it is known from the library of Ashurbanipal. It is commonly dated no later than the Old Babylonian period, although recent work suggests a later composition. It is a folk tale, possibly of the Diyala region, since the later version seems to feature the god Tishpak as its protagonist, and may be an allegory representing his replacement of the god Nanazu at the top of the pantheon of the city of Eshnunna. This part is played by Nergal in the earlier version. That is interesting. I didn't know that. Nergal. So, okay. It was possibly a precursor of the Enuma Elish, where Labbu, meaning the raging one or lion, was the prototype of Tiamat, and of the Canaanite tale Baal fighting the sea god Yam, it's seems to be related to those in some way. Tiamat is, of course, the deified sea in the Babylonian epic Enuma Elish. Other similar texts include the myth of Anzu and a text called Kar 6, Kar 6. So, depending on the reading of the first character in the antagonist's name, always written as Kal, Kal, and may be read as Lab, Kal, Rib, or Tan, the text might also be called the Slaying of Labbu or Kalbu Myth. This polyvalence of cuneiform readings allows a possible connection to the biblical monster Rahab. More on this below. Okay. Of course, Rahab is like a sea monster in the Hebrew Bible. It's like an emblematic or poetic name for Egypt and for the sea. So there's some relation there as well. Let's get on to the translation here. Let's check this out here. So, is this all that exists here? Let's see. Yeah, not too much. The cities. So it's, not all of it survived. It's, the text is heavily, broken up. Let's see if we can gain anything from it. The cities became dilapidated, the lands, the people decreased in number to their lamentation. There's several breaks in the texts here, so on their cry, he has no pity. Let's see, who created the serpent Mush. The sea created the serpent. Enlil in heaven designed his shape. His length is 50 biru in measure. His width is 1 biru. Half a nindanu measure is his mouth. One nindanu the span of his ears. For 5 nindanu, text broken up there. In the water, 9 amma measure deep he drags. He raises his tail. All the gods of heaven were afraid. In heaven the gods bowed down before. Probably before the Labbu. And the moon's face was darkened at its edges. Who will go and kill Labbu? Who will save the broad land and exercise kingship? And then it says, go, Tishpak, kill Labbu. Save the broad land and exercise kingship. You have sent me, O Lord, to kill the offspring of the river. But I do not know Labbu's countenance. Make the clouds and the terrible storm arise. Hold in front of you the seal of your neck. Shoot it and kill Labbu. Then he made the clouds and the terrible storm. The seal of his neck he held in front of him. He shot it and killed Labbu. For 3 years, 3 months, day and night, the blood of Labbu flowed. Okay, so I wish more of that survived. But it does sound similar to the Enuma Elish creation, the Babylonian creation myth for Marduk. I find it interesting that, well, this one's the Tishpak version. There's like a Nergal version. Let's go to the synopsis here. Extant in 2 very fragmentary copies, an old Babylonian one and a later Assyrian one from the library of Ashurbanipal, which have no complete surviving lines. The Labbu myth relates the tale of a possibly lion-like but certainly serpentine monster, a 50-league-long bashmu, or 60-league-long mushushu, depending on the version and reconstruction of the text. The opening of the Old Babylonian version recalls that of the Epic of Gilgamesh. The cities sigh, the people decreased in number, for their lamentation there was none to, and the text gets broken off. But the vast dimensions of Labbu are described. The sea, or Tamtu, has given birth to the dragon. The fragmentary line, he raises his tail, identifies him, according to Neil Forsyth, as a precursor of a later adversary. The dragon of Revelation, 12:4, whose tail swept 1/3 of the stars of heaven and cast them down to earth. Oh yeah. Probably some relation there. In the later version, Labbu is created by the god Enlil, who drew a picture of the dragon in the sky to wipe out humanity, whose raucous noise has been disturbing his sleep. A recurring motif in Babylonian creation epics. Whether this refers to the Milky Way or a comet is not clear. The gods are terrified by the apparition of this monstrous creature and appeal to the moon god Sin, or the goddess Aruru, who addresses Tishpak or Nergal to counter the threat and exercise kingship, presumably over the city of Eshnunna as a reward. Tishpak or Nergal raises objections to tangling with the serpent, but after a gap in the narrative, a god whose name is not preserved provides guidance on military strategy. A storm erupts, and the victor, who may or may not be Tishpak or Nergal, in accordance with the advice given, fires an arrow to slay the beast. Well, it's probably Tishpak or Nergal. The fragments of the epic are not part of a cosmogony as noted by Forsyth. Since the cities of men are already in existence when the narrative takes place, Franz Wigerman interpreted the myth's function as a way of justifying the god Tishpak's ascension to the status of king, as a consequence of his liberation of the nation, sanctioned by the decision of a divine council. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. And then the last part here is on Rahab in the Hebrew Bible. So Rahab is one of the various names for the primordial chaos dragons mentioned in the Bible. The others being like Leviathan, Tiamat or Tehom, and Tannin. As cuneiform is a complex syllabary with some signs functioning as logograms, some signs representing multiple phonetic values, and some representing semirograms, multiple readings are possible. The first syllable of Rahab, written with the sign Kal, K-A-L, might also be read as R-E-B or Reb. Thus, Labbu could have also been called Rebu, highly resembling the Hebrew monster mentioned in the Bible. And that, I guess, is about all that survives, maybe, of the Labbu myth. I didn't see the Nergal version, though. But yeah, that sucks that we don't have more on that. But this version here has Tishpak. I mean, it says go Tishpak, kill Labbu. So I'm assuming, he's the protagonist throughout the myth there. So yeah, let me know what you think of the Labbu myth and the god Tishpak, and also, where do you think the god Tishpak originated from? Do you think he's originally Akkadian, or like Elamite, or like a Hittite or Hurrian deity in origin? Like, we just don't know for sure. I don't know where I lean yet with that, but we will explore Tishpak further by looking at his extended divine family, like his consort and things like that. And so that should be interesting too. So, yeah, let me know your thoughts and comments below on the Labbu myth and the god Tishpak as well. And I'll be back with more deity description videos, ancient Near Eastern mythology and religion very soon.